course, flexibility, which is in fact the narrative of our present time.
In 3, 2, 1, you're live.
Hello, Santa Barbara. It's your chantress of everything valuable and beautiful, Elizabeth Stewart. And today we're celebrating a show that's opening at GraySpace in the Funk Zone. And why this interested me was I got an email invitation and I thought, how the heck are they doing this in these times? And this fits in perfectly, I thought, Richard, with our format, which is, what's the artist doing in these crisis times to actually keep creative and keep vital and pay attention to the world around them, etc. So today I have with us Ruth Hogue, who's been on my program a number of times before. We'll introduce her, and Carrie Smith and Wendy Brewer. And both of these, all three of these artists are joining together to mount a show at GraySpace. And as I was trying to organize the show for yesterday they were hanging the work. And so what we're going to do today is talk a little about how that was done and what they expect for the opening, etc. Before I do that, I want to just introduce a little bit. I want to start with Ruth Hogue. And Ruth Ellen's background is all about creative arts. She started in French horn, and we talked about this on a previous show. She was playing the French horn for over 30 years. She was 8 years at the Santa Barbara Symphony. And, she always had a real hankering to do something with her hands else besides playing the French horn. And she picked up watercolor and acrylic both. And I've seen her work in both mediums. She's an accomplished artist, and she has a lot of interesting things going on with kids. She had a 5-page article in Palette called Teacups of Joy, a series of paintings and thoughts about experiences of children on the edge. And I have a big note on my page to ask her, what does that mean? What does the edge mean? We'll get into that in a minute. She is pleased to welcome 4 fabulous artists that are joining her at REH Fine Art at GraySpace, and that is opening almost as we speak. And also introduce Carrie Smith, and Carrie comes from the theater. Her background is in theater design and theater set design. And then she is also the president of the Westmont Ridley Tree Museum of Arts Council. Now, the background about Carrie, gosh, the resume is fantastic. She has worked as a theater designer in England and France and Holland in the US. She's collaborated with some of the greats. Some of the names here are fantastic. And she's also shown a lot of her work in tons of galleries. We've got Arena Gallery, we've got Bergamot Station, we've got Blom, we've got the Los Angeles Art Association, Neutra Museum Gallery, all kinds of San Luis Obispo Museum of Art. She's shown at Sullivan Goss here, and of course at Westmont Ridley Tree Museum, Channing Peak, Wobbling Museum, all kinds of wonderful, wonderful galleries. And her programs have received congressional awards from Assemblywoman Lewis Capps and Hannah Beth Jackson, our Congresswoman. She says in her bio, and I underline this and I want to talk about this in a little bit, her current endeavor is to capture our changing planet, and boy, does she have a lot on her plate right now, because boy, are we changing. So I want to talk with her about that philosophy. And Wendy Brewer, who's been on my program a number of times as well before, and she helped me kind of curate this program today. She is in my favorite medium, which is mosaic. I love mosaic work. And she's actually comes from the background of the healing arts. So she's got her MA in spiritual psychology, and she's been working in the field of the healing arts with people of all ages, all kinds of walks of life. She has done hospital-based work. She's done a lot of staff education seminars. She works in senior living communities. She teaches children art program, and she is consistently working with new medium. So she's not just a mosaic artist, I'd say just, but she's working in clay as well these days. So I welcome all 3 extremely talented artists to the program. And I want to start with Ruth. How did you come, Ruth, to work at the GraySpace? I knew it when Sky Quilliam was there.
Right, and he's my next door neighbor at Gone Gallery.
Yeah.
And we are planning, as you were saying, things are changing in our world. And so we are collaborating with both galleries. If you've been here, our two galleries are like 180 degrees apart in presentation, perhaps to say, but we are so compatible with, and it's our vision is the same. And so it's just been great. We have a show coming up November where one artist will be a solo show by one artist, and he's going to be in both our galleries. So that's our first collaboration. So we're really looking forward to that.
And who is that? Who are you going to show?
Hold on, I'm going to move here just a little bit.
Elizabeth, please raise your mic up.
What's that?
Oh shoot, where did I put the book? Marcus.
Oh, I'll come back.
Shoot, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I'll come back to you.
I have to get the book.
And now I'm getting a tour of the studio, which is kind of nice.
Yeah,
So, yeah, dear listener.
I will definitely take you on that in a bit.
Yes, you're at the GraySpace, and I see the work hanging behind you. So, you know, this is a really cool opportunity, dear listener, to actually see this. I know we're on radio, but we're going to record the video part of this as well. So maybe if you'd like to see the GraySpace, yeah, there it is. Fantastic, Ruth Ellen. So I want to kind of quickly come back to Carrie. And Carrie, I want to ask you about your quote in your bio. And I want to read a few sentences about this. Carrie writes, "My current endeavor is to capture our changing planet." And I wrote, "How now?" right there. Consequently, my artwork records imagery patterns in our environment, urban, industrial, and natural. I'm interested in the changing intersection between place, city, nature. As an artist, I feel a responsibility to record the environmental disruptions that continue to affect the California fire-driven and eroding mountains, deserts, and coastlines. And now on top of that, she's, as we all are, in the midst of a pandemic. So Carrie, can you talk a little bit about this current endeavor to capture the changing planet?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show today. And just really thrilled to be part of the Santa Barbara Studio Artists this year, a great group of artists. And I'm looking forward myself to seeing the show. You know, originally I came from England, from Somerset. So I grew up in a very lush part of the world. You know, lots of cows and apple orchards and beautiful, beautiful green, lush crops and, you know, bounding with nature and color. So at a very, very early age, I was a pattern recorder. I would go out with sketchbooks created by old wallpaper sample books. Do you remember those? They were around in the 60s. And I remember my mum was a great wallpaper fiend. She was always trying out new wallpapers in the homes. And I used to get fascinated by the back side of the paper, where there were impressions and patterns and shapes. And these became my sketchbooks. We didn't have traditional sketchbooks. So I was able to take these, repurpose, and create lots of patterns that I would see in nature. I'd go out and look at insects and spider webs and leaves and soils. And, you know, that still sticks with me and resonates with me. Wherever I travel, I'm looking and investigating patterns. So to cut a long story short, when I came to California, the light here was so intense. It kind of changed everything for me. My whole color palette literally exploded. This is the piece I'm working on. It's 60 by 72, and there's going to be 10 of these paintings. I have 4 of them already completed. And they're really about my interpretation of how I see the land changing, the landscape, the erosion, the soils, the greenery, the redwoods, everything is just in total flux. And now more than ever with COVID, you know, and patterns that I perceive that are out in my immediate environment. That's really what stimulates me. I mean, just now looking outside, I'm seeing plants in my garden. There's always movement and light, and today there's a little bit of breeze. So I'm seeing all these shadows and shapes. This is what inspires me. And I really think California has sort of driven my work, you know, in the last 5 years. It's just made a huge difference with where I'm going with this sort of exploration of everything around me through the shape and the shadow and the light.
If it's not too personal, yeah, may I ask, how did you get to Santa Barbara?
Oh, well, I was living in Los Angeles and I was working downtown at the Mark Taper Forum. This was in the late 90s, and I was working with a director called John Tillinger, who is a director of plays for the Autumn Plays, and I ended up working on the set design for that. And I was single parenting. And I had this lovely little boy, and I wanted to raise him in a beautiful place. And I had no idea that Santa Barbara was such a family-oriented town. So when I came up for the day, I started looking at houses and, you know, was there a possibility I could move here? And I was very fortunate. I found a little house in a cul-de-sac that was, you know, totally safe. My sons could ride their bikes to school, and that was the beginning of it. And then I had to kind of set to and work out what I was going to do. So I was very fortunate. I had support from the Fund for Santa Barbara, and I set up a nonprofit called Art Walk for Kids Adults. And I created programs for incarcerated boys up at Los Prietos Boys Camp. So I had programs there and in Juvenile Hall in El Puente. And I chose to become an outreach program because I didn't have a studio. I didn't have a situation where people could come to me. And so I did that for about 10 years. And I worked with so many different kids from all different walks of life. And it was just so enriching and so wonderful. Ended up doing all kinds of projects for Earl Warren, for their garden show. The boys would create all the backcloths. Because of being in theatre, I loved working quite large, as you can imagine. And we ended up doing 3 shows at the Libero Theatre, all the sets for Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, the pantomimes. So I've kept very busy in the community with art, and it wasn't until really in the last 5 years I was able to completely focus on my own work, my own body of work, because I was outreach. I was, you know, creating just about every day a hillside house for developmentally disabled. I was at Devereux working with about 40 students a week. So my hands were always in the arts, especially with the schools like Hogue School District. I had programs there for after school for kids to create called the Mural Club, where they would take their little drawings and scale them up so they were large, and then those would clad the school walls. That was a very popular program and went on for about 7-8 years. But then as my kids grew up and moved on, you know, it became really apparent to me that I really needed to get back to painting. So it was about literally 5-6 years ago, I decided that that was going to be the main focus of my work. I mean, I still teach, but I'm very fortunate. I have a studio and I can come into my studio every day and create my different series, light pattern series, equipoise, V's. You know, I have these body of works that I continuously return to and develop.
Fantastic. It sounds like you have a real soft spot for the young male.
Yeah, I think having sons, and, you know, knowing how challenging it can be to stay in school, you know, to be able to sit in a seat. You know, it's very hard for a lot of kids today. And I think more than ever with Zoom as well, it's going to be more of a challenge. You know, I think art is so important. I think it's a way to settle your focus for the day. I mean, I remember when I was at El Puente, I would go in El Puente School, which was for at-risk youth. Cecilia Molina was the director at the time, and she made my class the first class of the week, because it not only got the kids to come to school, but it really helped them have that creative time to focus on math and the sciences.
Yeah, Richard's giving us, sorry, we got to go to a quick break, but Carrie, I just want to say, we were interviewing 2 educators in the school system last Friday who are both artists, and they both teach art. And they were saying that it's really interesting because one is teaching via Zoom the older students, and the other one is teaching via Zoom the younger and the older students at 2 separate schools here in Santa Barbara. And they were saying it's really challenging because there's a backlog in art supplies. And so if they say, well, we're going to, study watercolor this month, or we're going to study oil this month, they can't get a hold of the materials that quickly. And so both of them had to sort of, I guess punt is a good word. And they both discovered, and they didn't know this until we actually asked them about each other. They both discovered that they were teaching found objects. And they'd say, go out and find things, and we're going to do some things together with all sorts of interesting collage materials. And they found that they really captured the imagination this way, in a different way than, say, ordering something, from Aaron Brothers and having it delivered. And so they actually found that the kids that they expected to be very uninterested were the most interested, because they were actually doing things and finding things, and it wasn't just about the technical end, it was also about the hunting end. Yeah. So it was fascinating. It was fascinating. Richard, I know we have to go to a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more. I'd like to talk to Wendy Brewer when we get back about her journey through this pandemic and what she's been doing, because her background is in the healing arts, and you couldn't have a more interesting fit. We all are in the need of healing, I think. Let's go to a quick break, Richard, and get back in a minute. Don't turn that down.
Okay, we're clear, but I don't know what happened to your mic, Elizabeth. You were sounding great before we started. When John got in there to do whatever he did, something changed, and you're not sounding as clean and as clear as you were.
Okay, so John, Richard's asking you.
As a matter of fact, now you just took the headset off, and I can still hear you the same, which means that the headset is not, the audio is not coming through on the headset.
Is there something I should do, Richard?
You can't go into audio settings and select the headset?
Well, I thought I did. I don't know where I'm looking. Where would it be?
Find a little microphone in the lower right left-hand corner and the arrow.
Okay.
And then click the arrow, and at the bottom of the menu, it says settings.
Yeah, it's on them. Let's see. Does this change anything? Is that any better?
No.
No.
It was no, and it was sounding great.
So this is better? No.
Hold it.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
You got it?
That's it. Whatever you just did.
Okay. I USB camera. I think I switched her camera. Great. She wanted this camera. I think we're good now. All right.
Yeah,
thanks.
the camera. Yeah, you're good.
Oh,
you're
wait,
good.
no. I got it on the computer. But that sounds better, huh?
Well, that's weird. You took the headset off, and it actually does sound better.
Okay. Does it change anything now?
Tap the mic. No, I'm not hearing it through the mic.
Okay. That's because it's this is the headphones. It's switched back. It keeps switching, I think, because I put it on the headphones. Now you can hear me?
Yeah, and yeah, I know she needs the headphones to hear.
So it's working now. And this is
No, the headset is not working.
I hear you through the microphone. Crap. Headphones. Okay, microphone. I'm having trouble, Elizabeth. Sorry.
That's okay. I just want to try to work it out if we can.
Yeah, speakers. Same
right now it sounds very good, and if she sits down and talks to us, then we're good.
He's saying sit down and see if it sounds good. It may not be working right, but.
And we're about ready to come back, so talk to me, Elizabeth.
Hi.
All right, you don't need the microphone in front of your mouth because it's not working, but I'm hearing you through the microphone on the camera, so you're sounding much better.
You hear me through the mic on the camera, so if I
Can
unplug these.
Can you still hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, we're going to come back now, okay?
Okay.
You're sounding very good, though. Very good.
Okay.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, you're live.
Welcome back. It's Elizabeth Stewart, and we're talking in our ongoing series about the artist in the pandemic. And what's so interesting to me is Ruth Ellen Hogue, who has been on the program, a great respected artist in town, is mounting a show at GraySpace that's opening as we speak almost. And I want to talk with her a little bit about how that is accomplished, but I promised you that we talk with Wendy Brewer, who has a background in arts for healing. And what's so interesting about that is the arts for healing is so important today. So Wendy, I wonder if you talk a little bit about your own work and what's going on.
Oh, sure. Well, as far as the healing arts piece, you know, that is something that I've been missing so much because it's a lot of in-person work. So I will bring art to hospital settings for patients to work on as part of their healing journey, their treatment program, to seniors in assisted living communities. Those are off limits at this time, you know, just safe to be connecting in person with people in that way. So I've really been missing that. And I also absolutely love facilitating workshops that are all about, you know, sort of self-discovery and personal growth through creative expression. And that's not possible to do at this time. I know a lot of people are doing things through Zoom and whatnot. That has not really been sort of my mode of doing things. I really, really value that in-person connection. So that has been a bit of a grieving for me as far as just missing that aspect. And you know, then beyond that, just sort of missing connecting with other artists in group shows and collaborating and things like that. It's just so inspiring and just revitalizing and energizing and all of those things. So that part has been, you know, sort of like I said, a real grief, letting that kind of pause for a while. But I feel so grateful to have the creative process in my life at this time. And it's not unusual. I spend a lot of time alone in my studio working by myself anyway. So that aspect of, you know, daily living has not changed for me much whatsoever. And, you know, I've been asking myself during this time, if I'm not doing all of those in-person things that I loved so much and were so fulfilling and serving in that way, what can I do during this time to be of service? And some of the things that have come forward for me have been donating some of my art pieces for causes that I feel are just really critical at this time and always, but especially at this time, like the Santa Barbara Studio Artists, this show this weekend, we have a small image wall at the GraySpace Gallery, and a percentage of whatever sells from that small image wall will be donated to the food bank. And that's a really important cause for our local people here. I've donated some pieces to the Environmental Defense Center here in Santa Barbara, and they do just critical work, just preserving our coast up and down our central coast. And just most recently, I was asked to donate a piece for the Teddy Bear Cancer Foundation. So they're having their Blue Ribbon campaign coming right up. And I just encourage everybody to check that out. It's an incredible organization helping families who are struggling with, you know, children with severe illness and just really needing the support of the community. So so that's kind of how I've been navigating the service-oriented piece of this, and just really just enjoying some new processes in my studio. I am working on a couple mosaic pieces right now, but I've been kind of enjoying things that are sort of more recyclable, I'll say. I've been doing a lot of playing with paper and layering and images and words, and just kind of getting into this sort of discovery and play and exploration, and then sending those pieces as like little greeting cards to people that I love and miss and can't see physically right now. So it's kind of what I'm up to.
I imagine that if we get back on our feet, that the outreach to nursing homes that you have done in the past is going to be very important. And I say that because I lost my dad a couple of weeks ago, who was in a nursing home, and he died of COVID. And you know, the impact upon the nursing homes themselves is pretty severe. So out of his floor, there's pretty much everybody died. And you know, it's like, what do you do then? How do you recover? How do you help a nursing home to recover if that's, you know, the devastation of their friends group, for example, and not to mention the staff. So so it looks like you're going to have your hands full, hopefully, when we can get back in and help the, you know, the folks in nursing homes like that. I mean, I really respect you for that. That's fantastic, Wendy. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm just sorry to hear about your father.
Yeah. I also want to commend you on the donation part. I mean, that's something I've been seeing a lot of our fellow artists out there are donating a lot. And also, I've been really surprised in our community too. Have you noticed, girls, all the people that put stuff on the sidewalk, you know, for free? It's like, that's part of this phenomena, which is, you know, our world has become smaller, but at the same time, it's the conception of the world has become larger, you know, that we need to actually help other people in any small way we can. I mean, just a couple of days ago, I saw this entire barware set laid out on the side corner of a street. I mean, all kinds of, you know, German beer glasses and wine glasses, and everybody had taken all their glasses, their extra glasses, and just poured them out on the street. It's amazing. It's amazing. Hey, Richard, let's go to a quick break. When we get back from the break, I want to talk with Ruth Ellen about how she's mounted the show and what kind of measures she's taking to make sure that the show is, and the artists and the spectators are safe. And that is a challenge for a gallery owner, for sure. Don't turn that dial. Back with these three wonderful artists in a minute.
You're clear.
So, Richard, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay.
But it's not coming through the microphone. It's coming through the camera, either the camera mic or whatever other mic he has hooked up. But you're sounding much better.
Okay, yeah, it's through this little, I don't know, it's this, Can you see this? No, you can't, because it's filming.
I can hear you. You're fine.
Okay.
I turned my mic off because I'm chatting with somebody else here in the studio.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting to be asked about it, but this is our artist that's coming up. So I hope she asks me about it again.
Yeah, we'll share it for sure.
Yeah.
Share it.
And not to say anything about our show coming up. So much stuff.
I know, so much going on, but it's all good. You know, I don't think I'm busier. I mean, I find that whenever there's big changes in life, we tend to kind of refocus in new ways. But I mean, I'm teaching. I know you're teaching.
Yeah.
I'm also doing these tapes for Westmont. You know, we're doing art shows on the website.
Yeah.
I'm collecting all these pieces of scrap to do this filming on Monday for this, you know, take a line for a walk. I can't wait. I've got like, you know, ideas for kids that can just come straight onto the website for Westmont. You know, go take a look. There's some good ones.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been keeping up. I've been getting, you know.
Yeah, do one. They're needed. Everybody do one. Wendy, do one.
I would love to. Send us an email about that.
I will.
Thank you.
That would be fun.
Yeah. You just have
I
to
could be doing it while people are coming in.
You have to do a little, you know, keynote. You just have to plan it out so it's all visual, so they have that, and then they come in and they film you doing the
Putting
class.
it together.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
So Carrie, will you email me about that? Because that'd be something that maybe we could cover on the show.
Yeah, I'm going to do a series of them. It's all art classes.
All right, stand by. We are coming back in 3, 2, 1. You're live.
Welcome back. It's Elizabeth Stewart, and reintroducing, I'm talking with 3 wonderful artists. We're together under the auspices of Ruth Ellen Hogue. They're mounting a show at GraySpace. Wendy Brewer, Ruth Ellen Hogue, and Carrie Smith. And I wonder if Ruth Ellen will tell us a little bit about the show itself. So Ruth Ellen, how are you doing this? I mean, it's a challenge in these days.
Yeah, it definitely is a challenge. Just as you were talking earlier, how we are expecting things to go. And to tell you the truth, I've had the gallery open for this summer, and the flow has been consistent, and very rarely have had more than 6 people in the gallery at one time. And we're hoping that we get more people this weekend. And so we have one person outside monitoring and keeping people socially distanced and talking with them there. And then having, and people we can safely have 8 people in the gallery at a time. So it'll be interesting. It'll be, we'll go as just a lot of it's playing by ear, because with the heat, will people come out? We have air conditioning. Maybe people won't want to leave. So we'll see what happens. Wendy was talking about, and Wendy was one of the people yesterday that helped us hang the show, and she had such great input. You can see behind me here, try to get that focused up. These pieces are the ones that are donated for our food bank, and it's just, she mentioned that, percentage, but a lot of people just want to give whatever sells the whole thing to the food bank. And we're going to let people do donations, just write a check if they want to as well, just for the food bank. So that's part of what we're doing. Important to be part of the community that we love so much. What can so that is, when you come in, that's a major wall for people to see. Do you want to see just kind of quickly what's going on here? Here's Wendy's, let's see if I can get the light to work. That light isn't working too well. My lighting person hasn't been available during this time. It's very well lit here, but it's not coming up very well on the screens that I can see.
So Ruth Ellen, a question for you. So now Wendy and you were hanging the show yesterday. And are you hanging it any differently than you would have before the pandemic?
Physically, yes, a bit. Just because there's fewer people to help and for people to be safe. Yesterday we were all wearing our masks and so forth. But it's no different. It's still a wonderful show and we're just so excited to be able to have people to see. It's so hard not to see art live.
It is.
So we have something for everybody. We have landscape and abstract work of all sorts. You see on that I sent you, Cynthia Martin's work. It's just beautiful work. We have such fabulous artists because they're all professional artists.
Yes, and a question for you, as far as sales are concerned. I know I was speaking with Nathan Vonk over at Sullivan Goss, who says that, you know, sales are pretty hefty, that people are wanting to purchase. And I know, you know, I'm an appraiser, and so I work with collectors a lot, and people have been reaching out asking for representation in a certain price point of art. So what I mean by that is, if some of my clients that normally spend a lot of money every year on a certain artist will say, or have been saying to me lately, Ruth Ellen, look, I'm really wanting to take a chance. I don't want to actually go to the gallery, but for under $5,000, I'll take a chance on something. And so there, you know, the price point is going lower that people will take a chance on because they don't necessarily have to physically inspect, like pre-auction inspection.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. And and we're seeing this in auction house results too, that the price point that's under 5,000 is whipping off the walls.
I've been reading
whereas,
about that.
And also prints, you know, multiples are becoming really important because people can buy a multiple without actually being in front of the multiple because they can see the range of the series. They know there's only 100 done in an edition, for example, and they know that, okay, this is 69 of the edition, so they know it's authentic. So that question of authenticity when it comes to print work is a moot point, and so people are buying prints.
Interesting.
Yeah. And how are your sales?
Well, you know, when you say that, so much you figure how many people normally you would have come through the gallery, and figure how many sales you would expect from that. We have had sales for every show, and not as many as normal, but for the number of people that come in, it's interesting. Like, I was sitting one Sunday about 2 weeks ago, and not one person came in the entire day. And about 4 o'clock, a woman came in with her daughter, and they were on their way to Joshua Tree to go hiking. And they came in, they saw, and they bought 2 pieces that I'm shipping off to San Francisco, because they didn't want to take it with them. But they were the only people that came in that day, and they bought 2 pieces.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You don't know.
That's interesting. Carrie, you were about to say something.
Oh, I was just saying that, you know, during this time, you know, you can't be in as many physical shows, but there's been so many shows online. I've probably been in, you know, a dozen during COVID, with, you know, chances where piece I've sold online too. And there's been auctions online with, like, Los Angeles Art Association. They had their annual auction. I think they had like 87 pieces. It was all handled by an auction house down there, but they sold work. I sold work in that one. So in some ways it's easier because you don't have to ship.
You don't have to take it there.
Deliver your art for a show. You don't have to go then retrieve it when it doesn't sell. You know, it's online, and it's very, very nice. You can have a piece out in 4 or 5 shows. You know, very helpful. So I think there's been some pros and cons with this whole situation. I mean, I've definitely spent more time in the studio. I've developed more ideas as well. As I was saying, with these new series with Westmont on their website, they're having these art classes now for kids, and I'm filming some of those with Tamara Vaughan, who's a very good camera woman. She's one of the workers, one of the team at Westmont Ridley Tree Museum, but she also went to film school, so she puts together a really quality show. But yeah, I never thought I would take on the role of being, you know, president this year, but suddenly I have the time. I'm here. I'm not traveling. I'm very much back in the community. You know, I'm working with a few of my students online and in person. I have a setup outside where I have a younger teenager coming to the house with a mask, and we're setting up outside. I have my mask, we're creating outside. I feel very safe doing that. So yeah, I think there's a lot of new ways for us to create and support. And as Wendy says, there's a lot of nonprofits that need help with art. I mean, we just had See International. That was a big benefit for them, an annual benefit that the Abstract Art Collective, which I'm also in, they every year have this art auction. And I think we sold everything this year.
That's fantastic. You sold everything.
I mean, it's 100%, you know.
It's amazing. Richard's telling us we got to go to quick break. Let's go to quick break, and then I want to talk a little bit with Wendy, who said that she is not a Zoom person. And so, you know, we've got Carrie saying it's a little easier, or if there's other opportunities and avenues opening up because of technology. And I want to hear Wendy's opinion about that when we get back from the break. Don't turn that dial. Back in a minute.
All right, we're clear. I love that big old painting, big old orange and blue and whatever colors there,
Yeah,
Carrie, behind you.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Does that have a name?
Yeah, these are light patterns. They're to do with not just season, but months of the year. So that's why there are so many of them that I'm working on, and it's an ongoing series that I've been developing for the last 3 years. But do you have
kinesthesia? No, seriously, it's not a disease. It's, do you see numbers and letters in colors?
Well, put it like this, I'm dyslexic, so school was a big challenge. I didn't learn to read until I was a teenager. And when I did learn to read, everything was color-coded. When I did my degree, I had little flashcards with colors. Shakespeare, all the characters were colored when I did my English A-levels in England. So yeah, I was able to get around the educational system by being creative. And I think that's probably why I love working with, you know, incarcerated, at-risk, developmentally disabled, because I think there are so many ways to learn, so many alternative ways to learn.
Well,
and,
I see letters and numbers in colors, and so when I think of the months of the year, each of those months, which is made up of those individual letters, creates a different hue. And
I didn't know that about you. 12 years, I didn't know.
One of these days, maybe I'll put those together. Maybe if I can get all the letters to have the colors and then start putting those letters together, it'll show that hue from those various letters. It's really kind of fascinating. And numbers too. It's the same thing.
Yeah. But yeah.
That's very cool. But I like that. I like that behind you. That's really neat.
Elizabeth,
I like the blue, green, and I want to say purple. Yeah, the one to my left. Yeah, that you're zooming across there. Now it's on the edge. Now it's out of frame, but it's that bluish greenish edge of the orange.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. The
really
one at
like
the far end.
Yeah. Reminds me of the ocean.
That is exactly it. That is what that one's all about. Whoop.
Very cool. All right, we're coming back, Elizabeth. We still have one more break, okay?
Okay, we'll make this one quick.
All right, here we go in 3, 2, 1. You're live.
Welcome back. It's Elizabeth Stewart, and I'm talking with 3 artists that are opening a show at GraySpace in the middle of the pandemic, and how they're doing that, and the kind of logistics that they've gone through, and also the reason for the show. And I'm finding out more now that the show is in part a big benefit for the food bank, which is fantastic. How we have to think about things these days is fantastically done by Ruth Hogue, who is the director of the gallery there. And we were talking with Carrie Smith before the break about Carrie's opportunities where she is showing in a lot of different shows, you know, notably just the Los Angeles Art Guild that last week. And she's saying that because of technology, her work at Ridley Tree has expanded with the help of a filmmaker. So it's everything technological. On the other hand, Wendy told us at the beginning of the hour that she's not a technical lover, and that she feels in fact, the word was grieving, that she is grieving the close contact that she had with nursing home residents and also at-risk youth. Wendy, talk to me a little bit about that point.
Well, I mean, I've never really been somebody that loves to spend a lot of time on screen or at a computer. And so I still have so much to learn. So part of it is probably just navigating the whole technical world for me. And I've been resistant to that. So, I mean, the world of technology. And so I've been resisting that. I just tremendously value that in-person connection. And I feel like for some of the workshops that I facilitate, it does make a world of difference to be in person, because there are things that happen, things that come up that can be extremely personal. Maybe somebody's feeling vulnerable. Maybe some of that gets shared out in the group, and then there's more sharing with other people. And I guess I just can't picture that, really the depth of that and the intimacy of that happening on Zoom.
Right, our little postcard heads.
But maybe I'm absolutely, misguided about that, and I should give it a try. However, I love the idea of meeting with people outside. I mean, I have my studios in my garden, and I often work outside because we're so lucky. We have this beautiful climate here in Santa Barbara, and I could see having, maybe up to 4 people doing a workshop outside. Everybody having their own space and maybe their own supplies, so we're not sharing things. I would absolutely love that and welcome that. And I think people are starting to feel more ready for things like that, as this is going to be lasting for, seems like, who knows how long.
Yeah, right, I know. Yeah, it's interesting, the idea of the different personality types and traits that kind of enjoy the solitude that these days bring to us, and certain people just don't. We were talking to one sculptor, gosh, she's been sculpting 40 years, and she said she really likes this time because her phone doesn't ring and she gets to be creative. And on the other hand, Arturo Teo, a plein air painter with the Oak Group, said he despairs of his creative juices, because when he goes out to paint plein air, he just gets, depressed, down when he sees people so distant. And he said he's having trouble painting, and he's kind of turned to cooking as a creative outlet. Yeah, it's really interesting, the different personalities, how they react. Hey, Richard, let's go to a quick break. And when we get back from the break, Richard, are you there? Oh, okay. Richard's engaged. Oh, now there he is. I see you in your postcard there, Richard. Go to quick break. When we get back from the break, I want to talk a little bit about the technology that that we are all using these days outside of Zoom to get our art out there. Don't turn that down. Back in a minute.
All right, you are clear, and I am always listening.
And who are you talking to?
Mark Giles is here.
Oh.
We're just running through some. Technical stuff here.
And so people are coming in and doing their show live then, Richard?
No. Mark Giles is one of our part-time producers.
Oh,
here.
that's announcers, yeah.
At noon doing Cork and Fork, and he'll do Andy Caldwell this afternoon and so forth. He also produces those little nonprofit pieces you hear during our news hours.
Yeah.
And so he was just asking me some technical questions regarding Zoom and so forth. So I was just trying to help him out in that regard, because he's more familiar with Skype than Zoom right now.
Come here.
Apologize if it's distracting. I'll try not to do that.
Oh,
There we go.
let me see if I can show you this.
See there? Say hi.
Uh,
There's a dog.
Luca.
See the dog? I don't know if you can clock that. Oh, that's a big dog.
Oh, I don't know how to do this. See, there I am. That's Luca.
Wendy, you'll have to be in our book. We're doing a book for Westmont. It's a fundraiser, artists and their dogs.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a photographer, and we're going to do our first shoot with Holly Harmon and her dog. I have a dog too, but we're going to do a book.
Oh my gosh.
About your art, your space, your creative space, wherever that is, and your dog.
I love it. My dog is always in my studio with me.
Yeah, me too. He's always at
What
my
if you
feet.
only paint dogs?
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't have
that's
a dog
okay.
right.
We'll get you a dog. We'll get you a dog. I have many dogs.
Maybe I could share this with you. Let's see.
Yeah.
All right, Elizabeth, you've got 2.5 minutes in 3, 2, 1, and you are live.
Welcome back. It's Elizabeth Stewart. And just a quick close to the show. Ruth Ellen, your favorite technology in 2 seconds during these days?
Radio.
Radio. Okay, got it. Carrie, how about you?
Probably Audible books.
Oh, really?
Lifesaver. I play Audible all day. I have no time to read, but boy, there's some great books out there, and get on there and search Audible.
Oh, fantastic. Wendy, I know you're not thrilled with technology, but what do you turn to?
Well, I listen to music all the time. However, as far as doing more connecting and putting myself out there, I use Instagram.
You know, what's really interesting is, just very quickly, I opened a bank account yesterday, and I opened it virtually on Zoom. And I didn't go in and do the fingerprinting and all the signature line. I had to show, like, up close to the camera my license and then my passport. And I was thinking, my gosh, how do they know it's me? Because I had a big mask on and I had sunglasses on. So it's like I'm showing my pictures, but I could have been anybody. So yeah, Richard, it's an amazing thing. And there's such a learning curve to this all. Yeah. But thank you guys. And Ruth Ellen, congratulations on the show.
Thank you, Ruth.
Best of luck. Yeah, best of luck. And thank you, Carrie Smith and Wendy Brewer and Ruth Ellen Hogue. And the show is open this weekend at GraySpace in the Funk Zone. I think it's going to be fantastic, and it's a way that you can decorate your environment with some of our local artists' fine work. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Elizabeth and Richard.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thanks very
Here,
much.
you are clear.
All right,
Very
guys.
good program, Elizabeth. Excellent program.
Yeah, well, I'll send you guys the link. And then, Richard, are you able to send me the video, or how does that work to get the video to the gals?
If you want to record this program every week on video, I will start doing that. And yes, I will send you the link to the video. Actually, it will be in that same place, but I will resend you the contact for it, and you can forward that on. I'll also still send you the audio file.
Okay, super. Yeah, I need the audio file, and then if you send me the video, then I can send that on to the girls, because I know Ruth Ellen was talking about using that on the website as well. So
Yeah, feel free.
Yeah.
And have people download the videos if they're going to use them, because at the end of the month, I'm going to be deleting the previous month's videos. I can't keep them all up there. I only have a certain amount of space.
Okay.
All
right.
Very good.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.